Showtime.
Are we live? We're live.
We are
Hey,
live.
so have you ever been driving down the road and you're minding your own business, and then suddenly you see a car and you're like, what the heck is that? It's happened to all of us, I think. Am I the only one who's ever done that?
No.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not. Like we sell cars, and we sell a certain number of cars or certain types of cars, and we sell a lot of the same cars. So sometimes we'll see something that's really odd, and we thought we would talk about that today. So Ronnie's not here because he's on vacation enjoying himself. Although I would imagine that he'll be watching us, so be careful what we say.
well, at this moment, Ronnie would say, "Hey, welcome to Hard Earned Knowledge."
That's right. He would say that. Yeah.
Let's introduce ourselves.
I'm glad that somebody is saying that. So we've got our names on the screen. You'll have to guess which one of us. So today we're going to talk about some of these interesting cars. That, what we did is we sort of split up. We just said everybody choose three, and then we'll see what's interesting. And so you also I think it's helpful to know, and maybe we should start here. Is when I say an interesting car. I mean a car that something I've never seen before, or something that has some sort of weird feature, or something that looks particularly comfortable is what I think of. What about you? What do you think of when I say the word interesting?
Fast.
Yeah.
The typical Marcus answer, if it goes fast, I'm intrigued. So
all right, Kim Welch, this is for you. How about you?
Yeah, I'm looking for a Bobby car. I need something that can fit a 6'5" big guy. I like luxury, and I like a little bit of speed as well. I want to be able to get out there and do the things that I want to do on the road and compete a little bit with the fast guys until I be I'm too good for this. You can go ahead.
I just want to feel like I'm driving a house. It's comfortable, it's cozy, it does what I need it to do. I can talk to it. I don't talk to my house, but I can talk to my car now. So what you think is interesting, and what we think is interesting, and what each one of us thinks is interesting might be different. But maybe this will give everybody a little bit of it's unique and fun cars from popular brands. I forgot about that part. It's popular brands. So these are all brands that you've heard of, but we're going to talk about cars that you may not have seen. So that's as far as I can stretch that out. Who would like to start?
We got to start with the excited guy. We got to give him the first shot.
Oh, man. All right. Well, first one on my list is a car near and dear to my heart. I fell in love with this particular car back in the 90s. Fast and Furious really put this car to great use on the screen. So my car that I would love to share with y'all is the GR Supra from Toyota. The Supra is just something that, I've ridden in the old generations, all the way back to the Mark III from the 80s. The Mark IV is my favorite from the 90s. It's the one where you see in Fast and the Furious. And then this one, the Mark V, I have driven, I have ridden in, and I do love it. This particular one gets a lot of backlash, though, because it has a BMW motor.
Oh, wait, so you said it was a Toyota,
Yep.
and it has a BMW motor. Now that's interesting.
Yeah, so
why do they do that?
Well, the Supras had a platform of inline sixes with turbos back in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
Toyota currently does not make a inline six motor. They only make V6s or V8s or inline fours or flat fours. So they took a motor from the BMW Z4, which has a 3.0 liter inline six with a turbo. And they said, hey, this one works. Let's take this motor, put it in our chassis, tune it with our suspension and steering, and make a better car than BMW has with their motor. And
it's like a slap in the face. I mean, we're better car than you. We're going to use your motor, but we're going to make it better.
Yeah, Toyota does that with a lot of things. They do that also with another car I'll talk about in a while. But
we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. But the Supra is just so well groomed. It handles beautifully. It has the perfect amount of power for how heavy it is, how big it is. It has 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque. And the price point isn't terrible either. Price point, you can also get a 4-cylinder turbocharged model for around 47.
Right.
But their turbo inline 6, they start around 52. So not terribly
Not
priced
terrible,
for a 2-door rear wheel drive sports car.
So what is this 0 to 60 number?
4.5 seconds.
4.5 seconds. Okay. Someone always asks me that, like, how fast is it gonna go?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And I understand that measurement.
Yeah.
I don't really
Yeah.
feel for torque. That's,
Yeah.
So you chose this one because you really like it.
Yeah, it's we'll see
yeah,
if the
you have,
camera
like,
can
the
see that.
model
I have a
there,
Lego.
yeah,
I have a
okay.
Lego Super right here on my desk every day. The Supra is just one of my favorite cars. Just the heritage and history that Toyota has developed in this car. And they stopped making it after 98, 99. For the American market, they stopped making it until 2020 when they released the Mark V. So I was very excited. The one thing that I was very disappointed about was it only came in an automatic transmission. It did not have the 3 pedals. But Toyota heard our cries and are delivering the 3-pedal model next year. So I'm very excited about that one.
That is
Wow.
awesome.
Okay, that's all right. And you told us it starts at around 40. What is the interior in a car like this? Like, what does it look like?
The interior, I think it's pretty beautiful. I love that shot too.
Like,
My
oh yeah,
goodness.
that is a nice.
That
good.
bill.
So
Oh,
you can get it with the
wow.
leather, two-tone leather. There you see it has that's projecting the 6-speed manual. So I'm pumped that they put that in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has a carbon fiber all around here. 6-speed manual transmission, still looks like a BMW transmission. But there's the 3 pedals. And then you get leather bucket seats with heated seats, dual climate control, limited slip differentials, big wheels, big brakes. And then also what Toyota did that was really cool on this car, and the other one that I'm talking about later, is they come with a 1-year National Auto Sports Association membership, so NASA, and they come with a high performance driving experience, so you can take your car to the track and get taught how to drive
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
That is an interesting, like, I had seen other things that come with cars like this. One of them I'm going to talk about comes with fuel, like stuff like that. But I've never heard of somebody, but that's brilliant really for people who like to drive fast cars, give them a chance to go out onto the track.
Yeah, and
Right.
properly learn how to drive it like it should be driven.
And that's
Yeah.
the key. Because, I mean, really, it's a safety issue. I mean, if they get to teach them how to do it properly, then they stop them from doing it on the streets and possibly get into an accident.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a good point too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do want to keep people from getting into accidents.
Yeah.
And
That's-
yeah, not only do they teach you how to drive it, but they give you a 1-year membership to go race other people in it.
There you go.
So hey, I think that's a good bargain
Yeah.
for $55,000.
Exactly.
Do it legally in a controlled environment.
Absolutely.
Race
Right.
here.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So what else? Is got anything else on that car that you'd like us to know?
Yeah, so I could
Why,
talk.
yes.
Don't
I
ask
could
him that
talk-
question
yeah.
ever
That's a wrong
again.
question.
Y'all don't want me
Ask
to
him
keep
that
talking. No, I mean, I like I said, I've ridden in almost all of the previous generations, and then I've driven this new one too. I can full-heartedly say that my favorite is still the Mark IV from the 90s. That's the one where it was famed for taking down supercars and Lamborghinis and Ferraris
Wow.
in drag races.
Yeah.
But this one is so well refined and it handles so beautifully that to take something from BMW and make it better, then BMW is a performance company as well.
Absolutely.
And to take one of their items, make it better and make it more affordable, I think that's something that's just really special, and it's a really, really great car.
Yeah. And I think it's a level of respect that comes with that too. I mean, even though Toyota wants to make a better vehicle, they're still giving BMW their just due and saying, hey, you made a good product. We're going to use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
BMW is really good at inline 6 motors.
Yeah.
They still do over-engineer a lot of things.
Yeah.
But their inline 6s, they can handle a lot of horsepower from the stock block, so you don't have to upgrade the internals if you're looking to push 700 horsepower out of it.
Yeah.
And it's reliable. So that's something that when Toyota looks at things, they always look at reliability. That's what they're best known for. So
that German engineering is well made.
yeah, absolutely.
So how about you? What have you got?
All right.
Your turn.
Well, my first vehicle will be the Tesla Model X Plaid.
So I want
Right.
to know, like, does this car actually, like, is it actually plaid? Like, am I gonna be driving down the street and
No.
there's a car that has a jacket on?
No, I wish.
Okay.
I mean, at one point they had some things that kind of tied into that little thought process, but then they got rid of it. But no, the plaid is just that when you hear plaid, you think fast. I mean, everyone's kind of familiar with the Model S plaid, but people kind of overlook the Model X, which is what I would be in if I was going to drive a vehicle of this caliber, that I wanted the speed and the performance, but I also wanted to be comfortable and some resemblance of luxury. We all know the talks on Tesla and the luxury piece of it, but I mean, yeah, you can see it right there on the screen. I mean, over 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, so that car is crazy fast.
Yeah.
Is that a function of electric cars? Or
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
That
why is
instant
that?
torque when you come with the electric motor. I mean, when you're dealing with an all-wheel drive vehicle like this, you got an engine powering front wheels and the rear wheels.
Right.
So, I mean, you got connectivity to the road and traction and all of this other great stuff that comes with all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's powerful. I mean, you got you a 10-second car, like old
Like in
Fast and
Fast and
Furious.
Furious.
Give me a 10-second car. Well, you can get one for the low price of $130,000.
Okay.
For the low price of $130,000.
What does the interior of a car like this look like? Is it?
It's
like,
got
are
the
they
same
nice?
concept. It's got the sport luxury look.
Okay, yeah.
With the yoke steering wheel.
Oh,
Yoke steering
weird.
is new this year, or
Yeah.
you know,
Can you watch movies on the screen? Like, that seems like a bad idea.
yes, but you
Only
can.
in part.
Okay.
And this model, the new Model X, I mean, people are familiar with Model X. They've been on the road for a while.
Yeah.
But the Model X Plaid and the newer generation of the Model X in general are going to have that screen in the rear where the rear passengers can watch movies and play video games.
So it's got its own rear entertainment system.
Right,
even though
which
it's
they
not
didn't
in
have
there.
before.
Right.
And when you're paying $130K for a vehicle like this, you're expecting to have certain luxuries, and they didn't have any type of convenience piece back there. Nonetheless, a screen, even a lot of buttons for AC and climate control, stuff like that. They just didn't have anything in the vehicle. It was just luxury, leather seats, somewhat nice interior, look visually nice.
Yeah.
We all know the talks on that.
So is that screen different than the one in the S? That
Yes,
It's horizontal.
It's
instead of
horizontal.
vertical.
the
Oh,
17-inch there, the S puts a vertical.
You can play video games.
Yeah, you can play video games in this bad boy. While you're charging, usually this is one of the things you would do in the front seat when you're charging and you're waiting, because you could be at a supercharger for 20 minutes.
I never thought about that. That actually, when you've got an electric car, you do need to have something to do while it's charging.
And see, that's what we were
Here's the
talking about. Right?
powertrain. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man. So instead of like when you have combustion motors, the combustion motors have to go. One, you have to take the air in, make the boom, and then send it down the drive line to those wheels that are driving it. This one, the motors are right over the axle, so it's immediate. There's no build up to that instantaneous torque and traction.
So are
It's just
all
there.
electric cars that fast?
No.
That's
That's what makes Tesla unique.
Okay.
They may not be the top of the line when it comes to luxury and all of that. And stay there for a second, Marsh. I'm gonna go back to it. But the power and the torque and the aerodynamics of the vehicle and almost impossible to roll over. That center area you can't really tell, but pretty much on all the electric vehicles, that whole center area is batteries.
Yeah.
So the weight of the
really,
vehicle,
really heavy.
Low.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I mean that's a safety feature right there. I mean now we stopping and all that other stuff is a whole nother conversation. Obviously they put better brakes to be able to stop a vehicle like this that moves that fast, but that weight is going to keep it intact with the ground usually.
Yeah. And it's also drive modes that Tesla uses to put down all that power. It doesn't have 1,000 horsepower every time you step into it. You have to turn it to ludicrous mode.
Ludicrous mode.
And
ludicrous mode.
Ludicrous
Okay.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just sport mode, you understand.
Right.
Ludicrous mode.
And it's basically a launch feature. So
Yeah.
you're
Launch
using
control.
full power from a stop and then shooting out of it.
Yeah.
Does it wings attached to its body?
It has a
Well,
wing. What we would call the spoiler, the
Right,
autonomous
like a wing
Right
in the
spoiler.
there.
back.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is kind of a spoiler on the back.
Yeah, it's autonomous too, so it moves with the vehicle up and down slightly to kind of maintain the aerodynamics of the vehicle.
Yeah. And like it says here, lowest drag coefficient of any SUV because it's
Right.
really sleek.
Right.
It doesn't have door handles that adds to its drag.
Right,
Yeah. It was the fastest. I don't know if it still is when you start, if you want to tie trucks into that now, the Rivian, but it was the fastest production SUV
yeah.
out there. Could potentially still be.
I mean, and this is all quarter mile stuff like drag racing.
Right.
Let me tell you, if you go around a track in one of these things, you are going to be slower than just about any combustion car because these things are so heavy.
Yes.
So don't go track racing.
Okay.
Think that you're going to beat a Lamborghini when you can only beat it on the drag strip.
Right.
Okay?
You'll be just in the quarter mile.
I gotta set that down right now.
Hey, I got love and respect for combustible engines and the Lambos, and I mean they've done all-wheel drive the best. If you would ask anyone that one,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an amazing vehicle. Price point, I mean, $130K. That's before the autonomous drive, which is a $15,000 add-on,
Okay.
and not to mention some of the other upgrades that you might want, which is it's not a lot, but I mean, you end up paying $145,000 for this vehicle. Some would say it's worth it. Some would say it's not. I love that vehicle, but I'm not ready to pay that much for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the funny thing about
Yeah.
what we think is worth. Like, what do I think is worth? I mean, it's like the price of a house in Cleveland.
Yes.
So, you have
Yes.
to, you have to think about how you think about money.
Absolutely.
And I do like the yoke steering wheel on here.
Yes.
It is not very practical for
Mhm.
everyday driving. The yoke steering wheels are what come on race cars, so of course I like it. But
Mhm.
for everyday driving, it gets kind of obnoxious. I'm not gonna lie.
And one of the features on Tesla's yoke steering that has come under controversy is the fact that the horn is not where you would expect it to be. It's a button off on the right hand side, I would say.
Oh.
But it's just a little button. So when your reflex action is to notify
Yeah.
someone in the case of emergency, you're going to hit that center and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it takes some getting used to.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yes.
All right. Anything else we should know about it?
I mean, obviously the Tesla Drive, or what do you call it? Just the Tesla Vision. I mean, so that's another thing that you're paying for. Just the computer. This whole vehicle is a computer.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's where the price really comes in, along with the performance.
Pretty decent range too for an electric.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it really is.
That's common. If you can get over 300, most people are happy with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I would imagine.
Mhm.
All right. So I guess that makes it my turn.
It is your
Yes.
turn.
I have to decide which one. Well, I think in comparison, it would be interesting to talk about the Hyundai Nexo
Mhm.
Yeah.
at this point.
Yes.
This car actually attracted me because it comes in like a pinkish color, because I am the girl in the office, and that's just how that is. But it's an interesting car. You can only get it in California, and it runs on fuel cell. It's a fuel cell engine, which means that it runs on hydrogen.
Mhm.
And but it is not as fast as it has 161 horsepower and goes from 0 to 60 in 8.4 seconds.
It takes a while.
So it is not as fast as the Tesla Model X.
Hey, this is a good family car, that's made for, just getting around town and doing it very efficiently.
Well, it does. It has some 380 miles of range,
Yes.
so it can go pretty far.
Yes.
But you know what guess what the best thing about this car is when you think about these like EV type cars.
What is
It's
it?
hydrogen.
Yeah, hydrogen. Yeah, I mean,
it's better than electric.
it's definitely better. Yeah, it's better, definitely. But what's
Well, that's it. The reason that it's better is because you just put that hydrogen in the tank.
Yeah.
That
Right.
you don't have to like sit for half an hour while it charges. It's
Right.
just like you go to the hydrogen station, just like you go to the gas station.
However, there are only a couple of hydrogen fuel stations in the country, and most of them are only in California.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you can only get these in California. That's the only. And actually, Hyundai, if you buy one, they will give you some hydrogen. I don't think I wrote down how much hydrogen, but they they'll get you started basically.
And I personally think hydrogen is more of the way of the future than electric.
Yeah.
I just think infrastructure wise, it makes more sense
Yep.
if we can refine the hydrogen instead of using like fuel cells. If we could use hydrogen like we use fuel in a combustion motor,
right?
I feel like that would be the best course of action for hydrogen.
Okay, but here's like the thing that I remember about hydrogen cars from paying attention over the years is that they used to explode. Do they still explode?
No, not
Not-
that I've seen.
That was the problem that they had with these, was that they were a little too volatile
But it's about to single-handedly reduce their sales.
Right, yeah. Okay.
I definitely cannot say I've ever seen, a Hyundai Nexo explode.
Okay. Okay. I mean, it would make it a very exciting car, but
Uh-huh.
I think it would be like up there with the sports cars.
Uh-huh.
It's that exciting that it might explode. But
Any second.
I'm about to say, it seemed like it would get to 0 to 60 quicker if it could explode.
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, this one, it comes in 2 trim levels. The blue trim, which starts at $59,435,
Right.
and it's a pretty reasonably equipped car with the leather at seating surfaces and the and collision avoidance. But then you can go to the limited trim, which starts at $62,585, or maybe it was $885. I wrote it down, but I'm not sure what I wrote. And that includes it does remote parking, which I would think would attract a lot of people. Like, you can parallel park, you can perpendicular park, you can do a lot of things that many people don't like to do for themselves. It also has the surrounding monitors. And so it's a decent car. Hyundai makes nice cars,
Yeah.
and they're usually pretty reliable.
Yeah.
And
Oh, look, there's the self-park.
yeah, there's the
feature you're talking about.
self-parking, and
That was a very nice interior too, by the way.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that looked really nice.
It looks really nice. I like the dash right here and the maps.
Mhm.
The center console seems a little too busy for my taste.
Airplane-ish.
Airplane. I was about to say it's like I feel like a
Airplane-ish.
fighter
it's
pilot.
kind of like an airplane. I mean, it's high tech.
Yeah.
That's true.
fancy,
That's true.
and
There's this Chapa standing in front of the rose gold is beautiful.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
I
a
really
really
do
nice
like the
car.
rose gold.
That's.
I wish they would make more cars in that.
I wish they
honestly.
would too. That there's a couple of other cars that come in those rose gold. This one is actually called brown, of like some kind of brown. But other cars, 2 that I saw, that one was a Mercedes and the other one is a Lexus. That come in that color.
Yeah.
But I would like to see, I would get a car in that color.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I think that's really cool. As far as the sub parking goes, I mean, a lot of Volkswagens have those features now.
Yeah, that's nice features.
They are nice features, but I mean, I wish we could get them in Colorado, because that would be super cool.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
super
think it
cool.
would be kind of
Yeah.
interesting. But we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't hear that much about fuel cell cars.
Give it-
Sounds like New York is trying to be next when it comes
Maybe,
to the
yeah.
fuel cell and the grid situation, and
Yeah.
pretty much adopting everything that California is adopting.
Right? Yeah, pretty much. Right.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think we have better infrastructure in place to
Mhm.
make hydrogen more affordable and better for, because that's really what's better for the environment.
That's the future
You know?
right there. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
it's true.
But electric cars are fun, but when we're looking towards the future and sustainability, hydrogen is probably the better way to go.
Yeah.
So,
but
hopefully these develop rather quickly.
we'll see. I mean, there seems like there's a lot of commitment government-wise to EVs, to electric vehicles.
Yeah.
So
And once they boost the infrastructure and we start getting more solar and wind versus using fuel to create electricity and stuff like that, so it'll it's gonna take a while.
yeah,
but,
we'll see.
it'll be good.
I'm still not convinced. I just haven't seen I don't know. I'm convincible, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be practical to use those alternative forms of energy to run all the
All
cars.
of everything. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And I'm sure technology will, create it in a way where, we start gaining more power through better solar panels and things like that.
Maybe.
I mean, things always improve. Things always
yeah,
get better.
we do. We
You
can
know.
have faith in the ability
Yes.
of Americans to come up with new technology.
Right,
We do a good
yeah.
job with that.
Yeah.
We always have.
And then having that option between hydrogen, electric, and whatever else. I don't know what else
Yeah.
comes next.
Slowly, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
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 All right, we're back to you.
Oh man. So this one's even more personal to me than the last one. And that's because I own this car.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
This is my baby, my car, the Toyota GR86. Now, what I love about this one is, like I said, and I just found out this information today about the whole NASA and high performance driving experience. One, I need to go check that.
Yeah, you probably have it.
Yeah, I would love to to go take it out. But the most beautiful thing about this car to me is the way it handles.
Mhm.
the way it handles is spectacular. It's got such a great chassis. It's got such great suspension. It's a low horsepower driver's car, which is what I love about it. You can really test it. You can really push it to the limits without overdoing it, and the car will just do what you tell it to do. It's very pushable. It's very fun. It still raises the hair on your arms. You can still get it sideways, and it still comes into 6-speed. So that's another thing that I love about it.
But I thought it only came in gray when I'm looking at the colors. Because this is what happened. That Marcus had one, and it was gray, and then he was in an accident, and then he got another gray one. And then Caleb got one, and it's gray. So I thought it only came in one color.
So yeah, I had the pavement, the really dark gray, and then unfortunately my accident happened in May, and that was taken away from me in a blaze of glory, literally.
Yeah.
And then thank goodness for good insurance, and working in the industry I do, that we do, and it was able to find this one. And I needed a car. They had it in silver. I took the silver. I love it. Yeah, I mean, this one is way better than the last generation too, in my opinion. After owning them both, the last generation had a smaller engine, a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder. This one has a 2.4. Both of them are still naturally aspirated, but the last one only made about 190 horsepower, where this one makes about 230. So quite a bit more horsepower, quite a bit more torque. And it comes with that awesome package from NASA and the high performance experience that I think that's pretty cool. But the biggest surprise to me about this car coming from the last one was the aerodynamics. The vents that go into the front wheels really, really make a difference in the car, like right here.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it actually cools off your brakes and your tires really well for coming out of a hard braking zone. These cars are built for the track, which I love, and the price point isn't terrible either. You can get the base model at about $27,900. Obviously, these are all before market adjustment costs and and optional packaging. But for a lower end price sports car, I mean, this is one of the best out there. You can get a Miata, and that costs almost $40,000, and it has 180 horsepower, so a lot less horsepower. It's not as well, it doesn't handle as well. I just talked about this on my other podcast, so it's so fresh in my mind. But and then it has a great dual clutch, or not dual clutch, oh my goodness, limited slip differential in the rear axle, so you can get it sideways and it doesn't really complain too much. But the pricing is definitely something worthwhile. I mean, when you're looking at cars like this, you're typically going to be looking 40, 50,000.
Absolutely.
And this one comes in right under 30 or at 30. I think that's pretty special.
Yeah, that is. I didn't realize that it was affordable. But it looks like it is. I mean, maybe I should be recommending it to some of my clients.
Yeah, and these are relatively easy to get right now if you can drive with 3 pedals. So the automatics are taking a little bit of time to come in, but the manual ones seems like we have a decent chunk of inventory for the manual ones.
Cool. Wow. Nice. Interesting. Good. That's good to know that there's some inventory. Anyway.
I know. Yes, it's changing slightly.
It's changing a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, we just heard today that there are Honda Passports, Ridgelines, and Pilots available on the ground. So it's really exciting.
Yes,
anyway, not to change the subject. So that was your turn. What else have you got for us?
Going back to me. Okay, so actually this will be my last vehicle, but this is the Cadillac Lyriq. Now, I am a huge fan of this vehicle. Ideally, this would be my next vehicle. I don't know. It's up there though. It's a luxury vehicle. It runs about 61,000, over 61,000, just under 62K. For the rear-wheel drive version, and then almost 64K for the all-wheel drive version. We just found out that for those of us that ordered the 2023 Lyriq, even those are being delayed right now.
I believe it.
And we've, they were sold out a long time ago. So you can only order the 2024. The 2024 does come in the all-wheel drive package. But one of the most unique things about this vehicle is this would truly be the first electric vehicle that is made by a premier American luxury manufacturer.
Yeah.
So when you purchase at a price point of a luxury vehicle, you're actually getting a luxury vehicle. Tesla. You know what I mean?
100%. Because that's my biggest beef with Teslas. Their interiors suck.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
like driving a computer.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a fan. I mean, so obviously this is not as fast as the Tesla. Sitting at about 340 horsepower for the rear-wheel drive version. That may be slightly different for the all-wheel drive. We don't know those specs just yet. And the rear-wheel drive version gets 310, 320 almost of range. We're hoping for
312.
312. Yeah, somewhere in that range. I knew it was in there somewhere. But yeah, so the all-wheel drive version, they didn't give us the range on that yet, but we're hoping for over 300. You know, the last we heard it was above 280.
They're improving dramatically.
Yeah.
I remember when it was 150 miles.
Yeah, and when you look at the luxury of inside a vehicle
man,
like this, I mean,
beautiful.
similar to the Tesla, we didn't mention on the Tesla. Tesla had that panoramic roof, so basically
where
the
it's like
windshield goes into the roof.
it's a
and
glass
it's
bottom
all
boat
clear.
flipped upside down.
Exactly. But you know, so the Cadillac doesn't necessarily have that, but it has an
That's
amazing
pretty cool.
roof on it.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean
interior jewelry. I like
the
that.
interior
Yeah,
jewelry,
yeah,
the
that-
color changing.
I
and
also like the
ambience.
ambient lighting.
Yep,
The lights.
Yeah.
In a lot of luxury cars, they're like
Yes.
this, where they have the lights. You can change the colors, and it's like this low, soft lighting that it's just very pleasant.
And it's a real easy fix too. I mean, some of the more mid-range luxury vehicles are tapping into that ambient lighting because it's not an expensive add-on.
No, and it really makes the car seem a lot nicer.
Right. I've seen Honda Accords with them.
Yeah.
You know, and they were able to change colors and stuff like that. So it's available.
And they're actually they're functional because you can see in the car without disturbing the driver.
Exactly. And that is a 33-inch display
Oh wow.
right there. So that's a continuous display. Go ahead, Marcus.
I was just about to say, like, I don't know. I really like the display. I think it's simple and futuristic all in one.
Yep,
like
absolutely.
we were looking at the Hyundai and there were just all of those buttons on the
Yes.
center console.
Yeah.
It's like this.
Yes.
It's a lot more simplistic. It's ginormous, but it's beautiful and simple at the same time.
And you know the great part about it is that's actually you can change that. So if the person who wants to see all the information right in front of them in one take, there's a feature on there where you can kind of see all those things in the dash, and then you have the person that likes some simplistic luxury,
Right.
and all I want to see is miles per hour and maybe some temperature or something, and bam, you can break it down to that level as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, this thing is totally customizable to your settings, and that's what really luxury is about. It's about
Right,
making it
yeah,
comfortable to the
exactly.
driver.
That's why I like Cadillac.
Right.
The first time I drove a Cadillac, I was able to adjust everything so that it was where I wanted it. And you know, at 5'2", it's always a challenge. Like some cars I can't reach the pedals, and some
Right.
cars I'm like right up on the steering wheel. I don't like that.
Right.
Yeah, with Cadillacs you can adjust everything. It was very comfortable.
And I gotta give them, if you can get a side where you see the door handles and stuff like that, or even the tail lights. Look at that. The
The tail
signals.
lights I love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
The
a
taillights
lot
I
of
love.
tail light, and that's a signal. That whole thing that's lit right there is a signal. And you know, to go with the Cadillac theme, we have a lot of vertical lights. So the headlights on this vehicle are vertical, just like the tail lights are vertical.
That's still a pretty good size.
That's a nice sunroof, huh? Yeah, it's huge.
Not quite as.
It's the whole entire
as the
roof.
Tesla, but
Yeah,
it's,
mine is.
And it has a mechanical shade that you can slide forward.
Oh,
So
I like that.
instead of having to purchase something aftermarket,
Mhm.
you know, like the Model X, because a
Do
lot
you
of
really
times
have to? Interesting.
you purchase something aftermarket because it literally goes from the windshield over to the second row, not all the way over the full size of the car for the
yeah.
Tesla Model X,
That's interesting.
but it goes over the driver,
Mhm.
you know, and passenger right there.
Because I know when I think of panoramic roofs with like Volkswagen, Toyota, and all those brands, like they have that roof, but they also don't come down all the way
Right,
to the windshield like these do.
right.
I didn't know that the Model X didn't have that. though. That's interesting.
Someone made an aftermarket part for it to fix that problem. But these, you know, it's a manual cover. You push it forward, it closes just like a traditional sunroof, but it's full size.
Nice.
You know.
Automated charge
Yeah.
port.
Yep, and all of those are push buttons. So the way you enter the vehicle, the way you open the charge port, you press that Cadillac logo to get into that charge port.
Of course.
You know, and the doors are the same way. You push the handle on the door, and then they come out to you just enough where you can.
So that
you know,
Just
open
like
the
the
vehicle.
Tesla.
Yeah, but the Tesla, well, well, the Model S, I don't know if it's changed, but the handles used to come out of the vehicle.
Yeah.
So when you press the unlock button, the handles would expose themselves on the S
Oh, right.
and the X,
right.
and then you could pull on that.
I love the grill
Yeah.
too. The grill's
Yeah,
pretty
I like
sick.
Yeah, the grill, because
Well,
obviously,
grill, but-
exactly, because
Right, yeah.
electric vehicles don't need a grill. There's no engine to cool.
Right.
So therefore, they put the lighting in there where it just makes that vehicle look amazing. That's all lighting that
Yeah,
lights
Vertical
up.
headlights.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is really, really pretty.
That's a nice looking vehicle. I
And
mean,
then back seats,
yep,
Oh,
decent
nice.
leg room,
Yeah.
I'm sure, for a mid-size luxury
Mhm.
SUV.
the ambient lighting with the speakers and everything.
Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
22 speakers in that one, I believe. So sound is going to be top notch when you're dealing with a Cadillac vehicle like that, a luxury vehicle.
Yep.
So I mean, this is top notch luxury for electric vehicles as we speak, until something else comes and knocks it off its throne.
Which will happen, but yeah.
Eventually,
but
yeah,
at the
Mercedes,
moment,
I mean,
yeah.
They're on their way.
Mhm.
Some of them are still kind of looking Prius-ish,
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But I think Mercedes will give them a run for their money
Saying there's
eventually.
something wrong with the Prius.
It's just that when we started making electric vehicles, they had that futuristic look
Yeah.
that was similar to a Prius.
Right.
And it's like, okay, now we're tapping back into a traditional look of luxury vehicles that's just a normal vehicle, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. So I love that vehicle. I got excited.
Well, I'm going to disrupt all this efficiency by talking about the Mercedes G550.
Woo!
G-Wagon,
The
baby.
G-Wagon.
Yeah, we actually had access to one of these. I think there were two of them in the state for a while. They're hard to get,
Yes.
but there were two of them, and we I was just wishing we could just bring it by and test drive it, but we couldn't do that. But I did post them, and people were like, "How much does that car cost?" And well, $139,000 is where it starts.
It's a little something.
That's not bad for what it is. It is a Mercedes.
Rugged luxury.
But yes, rugged luxury. Yeah, exactly. It's a good car. It's a 5-passenger vehicle. It has up to, if you put the seats down, you can get 68.6 cubic feet of cargo space. So you can use it for rugged things, for camping and things like that. That it's 5.6 seconds to 60 miles an hour, and 450 pound-feet of torque with 416 horsepower.
Nice.
So, but what I'm really interested in is the features.
Mm-hmm.
So there are 4 AMG packages, which are more, if I understand correctly, they're a little more sports car like. But I didn't really look at those. What I was interested in was the Napa
More power,
leather
baby.
interior. So a lot of times people come in and ask for leather, and we're like, yeah, we can get you leather, but most of the time it's not leather. It's leatherette, or it's leather-like, or it's like composite leather. Exactly. This is leather. This is
Yes.
actual
soft text or
leather.
something like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But the Mercedes G550, you get Napa leather, and then there's the seats you can get them with massage function.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the car with cabin fragrance, which I don't know why we waited so long to
I
get.
know.
I would really like
Ooh.
that. That's
I know. Look at that.
That is ambient lighting for days. I love that.
and then it has 10 different programs for energizing comfort,
Mhm.
where you set it to the program and it automatically changes the climate control, the ambient lighting. It plays music for you. It adds the fragrance. It has a massage setting for that. It sets the heated and ventilated seats to whatever is necessary for that particular program. And so with the lighting and the music and everything just all set up just for you.
Right.
And it's I can imagine it'd be really easy to fall asleep in the cars. Like, I don't know if one of these energizing comfort packages is actually like loud pounding music and uncomfortable, too cold interior to keep you awake, but it seems just lovely.
Sounds like a plan, right? You got the choice between living in that and in a home in where would you say?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
In Cleveland.
whichever
Oh
whichever you
my.
would prefer, that would be, you can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing about it is that those other cars that are getting like 60 miles per gallon equivalent or whatever, this one gets 14 miles in the city
Yeah.
and 17 on the highway.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
it does have a giant V8 with twin turbos.
Yes,
so
yes, exactly,
it's not
exactly,
going to
yeah.
get the most. I mean,
You don't buy
This-
a car like this if you can't pay for gas.
Yeah.
It's not the car for the person who wants to save the planet.
Now-
It is a good car for somebody who can afford it and wants to do rugged things, wants to go
Right.
camping, wants to be out, wants to carry cargo.
Or just wants to look like you could.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, like people who wear, like exercise clothes when they're not going to.
Right, exactly. Those guys
Yeah.
and girls, of
I
course.
mean, yeah. Here's my thing with the G-Wagon is you only see rappers and celebrities rolling around in these, and you
Yes.
know they don't do anything rugged in these
No.
things. It's like what these were built for was like to compete with the Range Rover Defender
Right.
and
Yeah.
go off road and be that ultra off road luxury machine that you can, go to parties and feel classy in, and then go camp right after if you wanted to. But
Right.
no one who owns really either one, the Defender or this, will ever go camping in their lives. So
You know what I didn't catch? Is it all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive?
it's 4-wheel drive.
Four-wheel
So
drive,
Four-wheel
okay.
drive.
it has a bunch of different 4-wheel drive settings with locking differentials. Let me see if there was some pictures of that. Yeah, right here.
Mhm.
So it has locked front axle, open mid differential, and locked rear diff. So different ways to climb,
Mhm.
and things that you can use there. So that's really cool. That's really, if you do use it off roading, it's capable
It's
for
capable.
sure.
Yeah.
Just in
Um,
case.
It's just the people who can afford to
Yeah.
buy these ones, and
You were on your way
use
to a
them.
cocktail party and you made a wrong turn. You can get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll do just fine in the snow. They
Absolutely.
are very capable machines. They really
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mercedes does a really good job making their cars. Nothing against Mercedes. It's just these particular cars in general
Yeah.
are not typically cars that you see doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
I think we're a little extra snarky today.
Yeah.
Without Ronnie to keep us on track.
We just hate.
No,
I just-
I do love that car
I
though.
love
I
it.
mean, I have been in one before. I haven't
Yeah.
driven it, but I have been in one. They are very, very comfortable, very, very nice. Surprisingly quiet for having a massive motor, but yeah, really, really nice cars.
I mean, ideally, if I was mega rich, I would use it for off-roading. Just because,
Yeah.
hey, you would want the top of the line vehicles.
Yeah, you would.
That and a
That's
Forerunner or
I'd
something
say,
like
I
that.
was gonna say I'd still get a Forerunner.
true. Yeah,
You know.
Forerunners are really popular.
But I'd do it if
I would get
if
that.
money
Just for
wasn't
the
an issue.
massage, then, yeah.
I'll camp in you.
You can sleep in it. That's
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
comfortable. It's comfortable as your house. All right. So, what else you got for us?
All right, I got one more. It comes from the Toyota family. Surprisingly, who would have thought Marcus goes with all Toyota
Who
brands
would've
today?
No.
This is the Lexus LC.
Ah.
The LC is really, really cool because it comes in 3 different modes. You can get it in the regular coupe, which looks fantastic. You can get it in a hybrid, and you can get it as a convertible.
Oh.
Yes.
So that's why I really like this one. I like it for a lot of different reasons. It's fast.
Number one.
It's got a pretty massive motor. It's got so the hybrid comes with a 3.5 liter V6 with the hybrid technology that produces about 354 horsepower. So still got a lot of horsepower. I couldn't find torque ratings on the hybrid motor, strange enough, but
should be close to 400, possibly.
well, here's the thing: is that the coupe and the convertible come with a 4.0 liter V8.
Mm-hmm.
Or 5.0
About to say,
liter.
that's a big
5.0 V8, so even bigger V8, and that produces 471 horsepower, but only 398 foot-pounds of torque. So I'm thinking with the hybrid, where you're probably sitting around about 330, 340 on the torque department because it is a hybrid. So
yeah, true.
And it does only have the V6, but they're all rear-wheel drive, which I love. None of them come in a manual transmission, but that's okay. Price point, that's where it gets expensive.
It's got a big L on the front for one. So you already know.
Yeah, so I mean, they look gorgeous. I love the way they look. They're performance oriented.
They almost look modded already. You look like they got body kits or whatever built
Yeah.
in already.
4.40 to 60 times, so just
Yeah.
a tenth quicker than the Supra. But it also costs $40,000 more than the Supra. It costs for the coupe. It is, let's see, 94,300. For the hybrid, it starts at 100,300, and for the convertible, it starts at 102.
Okay, so what's going to be the difference between this Lexus sports car and the Toyota sports cars?
Well, the engine is the big difference. So
Okay.
this is a naturally aspirated V8
Mhm.
instead of a turbocharged inline six. This is longer, bigger, heavier, and fancier, really.
Yeah.
The Supra is definitely more track oriented. It's built smaller, lighter, more compact, but it's built for twisty turns. This is built to look phenomenal and drive really fast. Kind of give you a sports car feel, but also remain very, very luxurious.
Yes, it's definitely a different suspension.
Yeah.
Definitely not the sports suspension you would
Right.
find in the Supra. That's specifically tuned for track use. This has definitely got a little bit. It's got sporty suspension, but it's still soft to where you're not like in my car, just every every little bit because it hurts. But I really like it because it comes in those three models. You can get it as a hybrid to save fuel economy. Let's see if I can find what the fuel economy gets it MPG wise. 34 miles to the gallon.
Oh, really? On the hybrid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should be closer to 50, huh?
No, I mean that's actually something interesting that I found about hybrids is that like the Prius got 50 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
But like a RAV4 a hybrid only gets around 35.
Mhm.
So it's not the size of the car still makes a big difference.
It's a lot about
Yeah.
weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you use weight in bigger motors, it tends to use up more gas.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That, but I mean, compared to I don't know what the gasoline engine one gets, but it's probably a big difference.
Oh yeah, I mean,
But
I'm sure probably 21, somewhere in that range, maybe.
It won't even tell you.
it doesn't
that.
even tell you.
It's like ignore that. We've got a
just
5-liter V8.
forget
You don't need to
it,
know
yeah.
anything.
Oh, it's a V8? Oh, we gotta drop that to 18. That's right.
No, not dimensions. I
Yeah,
thought that said
it's-
emissions.
Emissions,
Yes.
dimensions, whatever. That
I don't know why they be hiding that. It's like if you got a V8, we know we're not.
Yeah, you're not pushing.
We're not doing 25.
well, the hybrid is actually in this list. This is a comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has all the prices and everything right there. Performance, maybe.
Well, that's I mean, we know it's lower one way or
Yeah.
the
It's
other.
definitely
so-
lower.
It's
It's
definitely
below
lower.
30. Definitely probably below 25 easily.
Right.
Yes.
That's so we thought that this was going to be a short video, but actually I think we're starting to run out of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got
That's
excited.
Yeah, we did. I've got one more. And so actually Marcus knows more about this car than I do. It's the BMW iX Drive 50. And I was interested in the BMW
the
i
iX.
series because some years ago I sold a BMW i3
Thanks.
and I had never driven a car like that before. So I'm driving it down the highway to get it detailed. And suddenly I'm overcome by this urge to just floor the accelerator. That never happened to me before.
Girl body.
Never let yourself loose like that, huh,
No,
Bonnie?
I never was interested. I don't care.
My right foot gives me that impulse every 5 seconds. So that's
No, it's
good for you.
Just
but-
disturbing. I was like,
Nice.
what do you mean? I could get hurt. So I was interested in this iX, which is 516 horsepower, 4.4 seconds 0 to 60, and it also is this is an electric as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
so but it cannot beat the 2.5 seconds.
Oh, no.
Oh, no way.
Tesla.
But just like I said, I mean, between it and the Cadillac, I mean, what's the price point on this one?
84,000.
Yeah, so I mean, that's going to be the direct competition, and obviously it's BMW, so it might even overshoot the Cadillac Lyric, but it's luxury.
Yeah.
It's not about that speed. They're going to get up and go, but they're
they
going to
are.
be luxurious,
You're right. This car is going to be more comfortable.
Yeah.
More comfortable relative.
and it's
to
faster than the
sports
Cadillac
car.
easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be. That's true.
516 horsepower, 4.4 0 to 60. I mean, 0 to 60 wise, it's as fast as a Supra.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
so
And it's still electric motor. Was that rear wheel and all-wheel drive?
X Drive is all-wheel drive. So
X drive is always. Yep, that's right.
X Drive is all-wheel drive. So 84,000 for something like this. I mean, when it comes to electric SUVs, you know, I would take the Cadillac.
Mhm. Me too.
It's definitely a little bit more luxurious, but you know, as sporty SUVs, it is going to be more comfortable than a Tesla.
Yeah, that's true. What does
Oh,
the
yeah,
inside
of
this one look
course.
like?
That's what we want to see,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
really.
Yes, look at the
that's
ambient.
Oh, wow.
The ambient lighting again. Yeah.
Beautiful wood grain.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, BMW is not going to
Leather.
slack.
No, BMW's electric.
And it's
range should be
seamless. Look at
all-
that dash. You know, it wasn't a lot going on there, but you know they got every capability known to man.
Yeah.
Look at
Sure,
that.
it's
It's like
that.
glass and then
Are
wood
these
grain. and-
speakers in the
In the-
headrest?
Oh, I think it's just an opening.
Yeah, no.
Oh, those in the
speakers
bottom.
and
I thought you meant on the
seats and
top.
The
everything.
top, yeah.
On the top, I thought it was just an opening.
Subwoofer under your butt, so you can talk about feeling bass
Oh,
right there.
And it's necessary.
It wasn't the ventilated. the ventilated
I don't know. It
seats.
looked like a subwoofer,
That,
but we'll see.
yeah, I did. That's
Look at that dash. You said it's simplistic, but just like I said,
Yeah,
BMW is going to make sure that vehicle has every capability.
Yeah.
Bowers and Wilkins
Wow.
stereo. So that's right. Look at those
Look at
seats.
those
Stitched
seats,
leather.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
I
that's-
mean, it's almost like they're making clothes.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
with that kind of attention to detail.
Absolutely. And that's the rear entertainment right there, huh, on the left-hand
Mhm.
side there. Oh, no, that's the front.
Front, yeah. I don't know if it has a rear entertainment system, but yeah.
that is
there's
look
your
at
jewelry again.
dial.
Oh,
Switch
yes.
that is so
like a
wild.
Polished
It
crystal.
looks like diamonds.
It's
Here's
crystal.
another panoramic.
Another
roof that-
panoramic
I
roof.
think Tesla is what made that popular.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, if you've ever used a panoramic roof like up camping or something, or like up in the mountains, it's so
Oh,
nice
oh,
and beautiful.
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
oh, man.
It's worth the cost of admission right there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's even branding.
yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's
it's beautiful.
wood
Simplistic.
grain. Yeah,
luxury.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful car. And
Wow.
you know, cheaper than the G wagon.
Hey, you know, there's levels to this.
Right, yeah, that's right.
There's levels to this.
And I do like the exterior styling. BMW is known for its obnoxious grills, so I'm glad they
Yes.
kept the obnoxious grills with the electric car still.
They did a really
Um,
good job with that grill. too.
Yeah, like I don't know why, but like BMW's grills have always reminded me of angry nostrils.
I can see that.
So
Very
I
good.
mean, it's just an iconic look that BMW has developed over
Yeah, over
the
the
course
years
of
with that,
decades and
right.
decades. But
Yes.
I like the iconic stuff, and I like staying true to what they were and where they've come. So yeah, I like the BMWs.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
do
very
too.
nice vehicle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Money not an option. I get
Well,
both. Cadillac and the
Money-
IS.
It's like a whole
Money,
lot
no, no,
at your
money,
mansion,
yeah.
and yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, Ronnie.
Absolutely.
We expect that you have watched all the way to the end. So
Uh-huh.
I hope that and, let us know what you thought. And yeah.
Yeah. And
We'll see you next week.
Definitely leave us some comments, guys. Leave us some comments.
Yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in with us, watching the three of us struggle without Ronnie.
Yes.
Ronnie will be back next week where we'll talk about some more relative stuff to the car industry and entrepreneurship as a whole. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, and we will see you guys next time. Have a good one.
See you later, alligators.